In a quiet town where life moved fast and people barely looked up from their phones, there sat an old man named Henry. Every day, without fail, he sat on the same wooden bench in front of a small park. His eyes always scanned the faces walking by, hopeful, patient, waiting. But nobody ever stopped. They all thought he was just another old man with nothing to offer. Children ignored him. Adults passed without a glance. He smiled anyway. Every day. What nobody knew was that Henry was once a celebrated author. His books had touched millions across the world. He had lived a life of passion, war, loss, and wisdom. But fame fades, and so do memories. After his wife passed and his son moved abroad, Henry returned to the town where he met his true love. The bench was their meeting place 50 years ago. One rainy morning, a small girl named Emma stopped in front of the bench. Unlike the others, she looked Henry straight in the eyes and asked, "Why are you always sitting here?" He chuckled gently and said, "I'm waiting for someone brave enough to ask that." From that day on, Emma sat with Henry every weekend. He told her stories, not made-up ones, but real ones. About courage, love, war, forgiveness. Things she couldn't learn from a phone. Emma would listen with wide eyes as Henry spoke of the time he saved a soldier during the war, or when he lost his mother and had to raise his younger sister at just 14. He told her how love once made him travel barefoot across towns just to say "I'm sorry." To Emma, Henry was no longer just an old man. He became her friend, her teacher, her secret hero. One day, she asked, "Why don't you tell these stories to others?" Henry smiled softly, because most people only listen when it's too late. Then one Saturday, Henry didn't show up. Emma waited. Morning turned to evening. Still no Henry. She came back the next day. And the next. The bench stayed empty. A weight grew in her chest. Something was wrong. She asked around. Nobody even knew his name. The same people who passed him daily had no idea who he was. That night, she cried on her pillow like she lost a family member. Emma begged her parents to help find Henry. After weeks of searching, they finally discovered an obituary. His full name, Henry Coleman. No funeral held. No relatives nearby. He had died quietly in a small rented apartment with no one by his side. Emma was devastated. But then she made a decision, a promise. She took her notes and began writing down every single story Henry had ever told her. Years passed. Emma grew older. But Henry's stories never faded from her heart. She wrote every one of them, his joys, his heartbreaks, his wisdom. On her 18th birthday, instead of a party, she launched a blog called The Bench Diaries. Her first post read, "This is for the man the world ignored. He gave me everything without asking for anything. Now, I'll make sure the world finally hears him." People began to read and cry and remember their own Henrys, those gentle souls the world forgets too easily. Soon, the little park bench where Henry once sat became a symbol. People began visiting it, leaving flowers, letters, even books. A sign was placed beside it. In memory of Henry Coleman. A storyteller. A friend. A reminder to slow down and listen. The town changed. Strangers spoke more kindly. Old people were no longer ignored. Emma had sparked something powerful. Emma went on to become a writer, not because she wanted fame, but because she wanted to pass on what Henry gave her, the art of paying attention to souls, not appearances. At her first book signing, she held a single copy of The Bench Diaries. On the dedication page, she wrote, "For the man who waited patiently, until someone finally sat beside him. Her voice cracked as she read those words aloud. Many in the room wept, not because they knew Henry, but because they had once walked past someone just like him. One day, Emma returned to the bench as a grown woman. She sat in silence, eyes closed. She whispered, "Thank you, Henry. You were never invisible. You were a gift the world didn't see in time. But now, they do." A small boy walked by, glanced at her, then paused. "Why do you sit here alone?" he asked. Emma looked at him, smiling through tears. "I'm waiting for someone brave enough to ask that." And so, the stories continued. If this story touched your heart, please like this video to honor people like Henry. Subscribe to hear more powerful stories like this one, and comment below. Have you ever met a Henry in your life? Let's not wait until it's too late to see people for who they truly are. Suggest the next story you'd love to hear. This channel is your safe space for real stories that stay with you.